She was called a monster on headlines and movie posters. But the real story of Aileen Wuornos is darker and more complicated than a label. Aileen was born in Michigan in 1956 and grew up in extreme instability, abuse, abandonment, and periods of homelessness as a teenager. By her early 20s, she was drifting, surviving through sex work, alcohol, and petty crime. Eventually, she ended up in Florida, living mostly in cheap motels, on back roads, and in bars. In the late 1980s, she met Tyria Moore, a hotel maid. The two started an intense relationship and moved from place to place, with much of their life funded by Aileen S. work as a sex worker along Florida S highways. Between late 1989 and 1990, 7 middle-aged men went missing in central Florida. Their bodies were later found in wooded areas or along remote roads. Each had been shot, often multiple times. Their cars and belongings were missing. The pattern pointed to a single offender who was targeting men who picked up a hitchhiker or sex worker. As investigators tracked down leads, they began to connect the victims' vehicles and pawned items to one name: Aileen Wuornos, often seen together with Tyria Moore. In January 1991, Aileen was arrested at a biker bar in Volusia County. Police then turned to Moore for help. Given immunity from prosecution, Moore agreed to cooperate. She made recorded phone calls to Aileen in jail, urging her to tell the truth. On those calls, Aileen admitted to the killings, saying she did it to protect them both. Aileen claimed that the first man she killed, electronics store owner Richard Mallory, had violently raped her, and that she shot him in self-defense. She later described the other killings as similar situations, clients who she said became threatening or abusive, forcing her to defend herself. Prosecutors presented a different story, that Aileen was robbing and murdering men along the highways, repeatedly, over the course of about a year. At her trials in the early 1990s, the state used evidence from multiple cases to show a pattern, arguing that her claims of self-defense didn't match the physical evidence. Wuornos was ultimately convicted of 6 counts of first-degree murder and received multiple death sentences. On October 9, 2002, after more than a decade on Florida's death row, Aileen Wuornos was executed by lethal injection. She left behind grieving families, a complicated court record, and a public still divided over how to understand her. As a serial killer, a deeply damaged survivor who turned to violence, or an uneasy combination of both.